Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, and today I have a topic to discuss that I think is really interesting. I've been doing a number of these discussion videos lately because frankly, there isn't a whole lot going on with Black Ops Cold War as of late. It's the holidays, Christmas is a few days away, and virtually all of the developers at Treyarch appear to have checked out for the time being, which makes sense, I suppose. It's a special time of year, and especially here in 2020, I think taking time away to enjoy the holidays and your loved ones, assuming you even can with the pandemic, is a good thing. Right, obviously Black Ops Cold War has a lot of issues right now, and Treyarch is aware of most of them, and I fully expect 2021 to kick off with a lot of updates and changes to the Cold War multiplayer, but then again, maybe that's me being a bit too optimistic, but either way, today I wanted to follow up the video that I made yesterday. Yesterday we discussed Modern Warfare 2 Multiplayer Remastered and how it ties into Black Ops Cold War, and today I want to talk about the original Modern Warfare 2. I also want to talk about the original Call of Duty 4. World at War, Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2, and even Modern Warfare 3, because I feel like those games are not too long for this world, as sad as I am to say that. With the recent releases of the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5, the old Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 days are even further behind us. It doesn't seem like it's been all that long, but the original Modern Warfare 2 is 10 years old. Hell, Call of Duty 4, which was the game that I personally entered the franchise with, is over 13 years old. Think about that for a second. If my time playing Call of Duty was a child, then that child would be hitting puberty right now and looking forward to getting its driver's license, and that is absolutely insane. Like, where does the time go? As some of you may know, recently some really sad news came out for old school fans of the Xbox 360, because it was announced by 343 Industries that the Xbox 360 servers for the old school original Halo games are going to be shutting down in 2021. This affects Halo Wars, it affects Spartan Assault, Halo Combat Evolved Anniversary, Halo 3 ODST, Halo 4, and even Halo Reach. Man, I actually remember when Halo Reach came out. It was like a big time. Even here in the Call of Duty community, everybody seemed really hyped for that game, and I remember playing it. It was my first Halo game, and experiencing that and being part of the hype and everything, and it doesn't seem like that was really that long ago, but in reality, that game released over 8 years ago. Well, for fans of the old school Halo games, this is obviously some really sad news because we now have an official date, December 18th, 2021, and on that day, the online servers for all of those old school Halo games are going to be shut down for good. You can still play the campaign and stuff like that, but if you want to play the online multiplayer, you'll never be able to do that. You'll never be able to go back and relive any of those experiences that you may hold dear if you played those old school Halo titles. Now, obviously, the Master Chief Collection is out, so it's not as if gameplay from those old games is completely dead, but the fact that the original games are going down has me thinking about the Call of Duty franchise. Going back to Call of Duty 4, which again was the game that I started out with, one day it's going to go the way of Halo. Even though I haven't really played the original Call of Duty 4 in ages, mostly because of Modern Warfare Remastered, it's always been comforting knowing that at any time I can go back, boot up the multiplayer, and attempt to relive the experiences I had back when I was a starry-eyed 16-year-old playing his first ever online first-person shooter. Right, at any point, even right now, I can plug in my 360, go back and play that game and try to relive those memories, but I'm not always going to be able to do that. Right? I think this is actually a very important topic to bring up because eventually Activision is going to shut down those old servers on Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3. The only real question is when exactly are they going to do it? At what point will they eventually just say, you know what, no one is playing these old games anymore, let's cut our losses and stop paying for server upkeep? I mean, hell, if you've gone back to play any of those old games at any point over the course of the past few years, then you know that the player base is pretty much completely dead on every single one of them. World at War on the Xbox 360 has an average of like 30 total people playing it at any given time. Call of Duty 4 is about the same, and once you get to the more recent titles, and I use the word recent loosely here, like Black Ops 1, Modern Warfare 3, and Black Ops 2, well, those games are hacked all to hell. Let's look at this footage here from Black Ops 2. You may think this is old footage. This footage was from a few months ago, and it seems like the remaining player base on these old school, classic, iconic Call of Duty titles are equal parts nostalgic old hats like myself, and degenerate losers who like the power trip of cheating on a game that died almost a decade ago. Activision and subsequently Infinity Ward and Treyarch have gave up on supporting these games years and years ago. They basically just sell them at ridiculous prices and don't maintain them whatsoever. And seriously, think about these prices for a second. It's still $20 if you want to buy a copy of Call of Duty 4, and it's $50 for a copy of Black Ops 2. Did you guys not just see how hacked this game's multiplayer is here in 2020? Activision is still selling this thrilling online experience for $50. Hell, Cold War is on sale right now for the same price, but if you want to play Black Ops 2's multiplayer and you don't have your old disc and you want to buy a digital version just to relive those memories, 50 bones! $50 to actually be able to do that just to get into a hacked lobby like you're seeing right here. That is actually insane. And I also think this is partly why these old games have lasted so long. They're still selling these games for ridiculous prices, so there must be some people out there still rebuying these old games even here in 2020, and maybe Activision is making enough of a profit on that to keep the old servers online. I obviously have no idea, but that certainly is a theory. I just woke up today and I started thinking about what it would be like if we were physically unable to relive our experiences with the Call of Duty games that kind of got us into the franchise in the first place, right? Games like Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare 2, Black Ops 1, and Black Ops 2 are what a lot of us believe to be the foundation of the Call of Duty franchise. These were the games that blew up back in the day. These were the games that a lot of fans fell in love with, and for people like me, and I know for a fact a lot of you guys as well, these are the games that we compare the current Call of Duty content to. A lot of my notions and beliefs as a content creator surrounding the Call of Duty franchise and how I feel as though the franchise should be handled were derived from my experiences that I had playing those classic games back in the day. I want nothing more for Call of Duty to really go back to its roots and for the game to feel like it used to, though I'm not sure that's ever going to happen. I have a feeling that Call of Duty is going to continue to evolve as anything in life does, and the things that we saw back in the day, the things that made us fall in love with the Call of Duty franchise are eventually going to just fall by the wayside, and Call of Duty is still going to feel like COD. It's still going to be a first-person shooter with a relatively fast time to kill and kill streaks and perks and weapons and stuff like that, but the core design of the old-school Call of Duty games that really made us fall in love with the franchise, I think eventually that is just going to go by the wayside. I think they're going to look at those systems and those features, and they're going to become so antiquated that they're not going to be things that they feel as though the new player base wants. And as a result, they're just going to forget about them. I've talked many times here in the channel about how, especially with Modern Warfare 2019, and to an extent Black Ops Cold War, especially with skill-based matchmaking, it really appears like Activision is trying to target a whole new demographic for the Call of Duty franchise. They're trying to bring in a whole new player base, and as a result, the people like us that have been around forever, we're kind of falling by the wayside because the games aren't really being made for players like us anymore. The games aren't being made like they used to. They're basically this whole new experience that is designed for a new player base, a casual player base, but at the same time, they're also the sweatiest games in existence. It's a really weird situation. Now, thankfully, there are some things that kind of harken back to the old days of the Call of Duty franchise. Like I talked about in yesterday's video, the Prestige Shop is now available in Black Ops Cold War, and as such, we have the ability to purchase Prestige icons from the previous Black Ops titles. Now, usually people are going to pick the icons that mean the most to them, and even though for me it's not yet currently available, we'll have to wait for Season 2, maybe Season 3 for this to happen, but for me, that Prestige icon that means like the most to me is the World at War 10th Prestige icon. On March 8th of 2009, I hit max level in World at War, and that would be the first time I ever hit max rank in a Call of Duty game. I remember being so excited for having hit 10th Prestige, and over the years, I would end up putting well over 50 days of playtime into the World at War multiplayer because I loved it that much. And it's sad to me that nowadays, the population for that game is so low. It's really difficult to be able to go back and actually play that game, and just knowing that someday online services for that game and all the other old school Call of Duty titles are going to go away, it really bothers me, right? Eventually, one day, we're not going to be able to go back and relive those memories. We're not going to be able to go back and actually play the game online. Eventually, we're going to be left to just walk around in offline private matches, listening to the ambient music on the maps and listening to the creaking sounds of old train cars and the crows chirping in the distance, all the while just remembering all the good times we had with people that we haven't heard from in years. And that's a really depressing feeling. It's not all bad, however. It's not all bad. While yes, the old school Call of Duty titles are ultimately doomed, and one day those online servers will be shut down, I think we may be a good ways away from that. That is a good takeaway from this. I think we're a good ways away from that. Activision has been pretty silent on this subject, but this is something that does eventually happen. Once a game dies down enough, the publishers and the developers have to decide if it's worth to pay for life support for those games or just cut their losses and shut down these servers. But again, I think we may have a few good years left, at least hopefully, right? It's also worth mentioning that games like Modern Warfare 2, Black Ops 1, and Black Ops 2 are almost guaranteed to be remastered at some point. There is just way too much money that Activision would be leaving on the table if they didn't decide to eventually remaster those old games. And one final thing I think I would like to point out here is that while yes, we can look back at those old games with rose-tinted glasses and remember the good times, it's important to remember to live in the now as well. We may not know it, especially with these skill-based matchmaking sweat fields that we have here in Black Ops Cold War, but right now we're making memories, right? A year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now, we're going to look back at Black Ops Cold War and there will be some nostalgic feelings for this game. Maybe not as much as previous Call of Duty titles because of how sweaty the game is, but there will be those nostalgic feelings for a lot of us. We're going to remember the game, we're going to remember unlocking things like Prestige Master and Dark Matter, we're going to remember playing on the different maps and the different seasonal events, and of course, we're also going to remember the people that we played with and what was going on in our lives at the time. I personally feel that way already about Black Ops 4. I definitely feel that way about Blackout, all the endless nights that my friends and I would stay up and play Blackout, and the hundreds of wins that we would get together. I have so much nostalgia for Blackout, even though the game is still pretty active. You can still go back and play Blackout pretty easily. It still has a pretty good following. But yeah, I have all these nostalgic feelings for Blackout, even though the game itself isn't really that old. I also have those same feelings for games like Call of Duty World War II and Modern Warfare Remastered, and the games that came out prior to that. It's important to remember where we came from here in the Call of Duty franchise, but it's also important to remember to live in the now and try to enjoy yourself in the now. And holy shit, the more I talk about this, the more I feel like I'm preaching in a Hallmark movie about video games, but it's true. You guys know it's honestly true. Just enjoy yourselves, have fun, and remember to occasionally go back and play the games that you love, because one day those games may not be around anymore, especially now that iconic games like Modern Warfare 2 and Black Ops 2 are 2 console generations out of date and backwards compatibility is only available on the Xbox. Their days are numbered, right? The days of those old school games are numbered, and I can definitely see a situation where whenever Activision really decide to pull the trigger on remastering iconic games like, again, Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3, Black Ops 2, World at War maybe even, games like that, once they decide to pull the trigger on that, I think they may also decide to just so conveniently stop supporting the servers for those old games right beforehand as a way to encourage people to actually purchase the remaster. I don't know, man. If there's one thing I've learned in the 10 plus years I've been making YouTube videos, it's that anything is possible here in the Call of Duty franchise. Even in down periods of news like we have right now, there is always something waiting right around the corner. And as always, I will be there with you guys every step of the way, covering all the news, all the leaks, all the information, talking about virtually everything that's happening in the Call of Duty franchise. But until then, I'm going to wrap up this little discussion video. I don't know. It's just something that I woke up thinking about today, and I thought, you know what? I want to talk about it, and maybe some people want to listen. But ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys all enjoyed today's video. If you did, consider leaving a like. Thank you all so much for listening. Leave your thoughts and feedback down in the comments. What Call of Duty game is the most nostalgic for you? Like, if you could pick a situation where there's only one Call of Duty game available in existence, and that is the game that everybody plays, and that's the game that just lives on forever, which Call of Duty title would that be? Leave your thoughts and feedback down below. Once again, I hope you guys all enjoyed. Thank you all so much for listening, and I hope you guys all have a wonderful day.